one of the things I really love about sort of the sustainability angle to programmatic is that, it's like a beacon of light that you can shine in shadowy corners. When you're asking about the carbon footprint of an ad, what you are actually asking about is the supply path and the end destination and the quality of that end destination and its likelihood to produce a return.
How do you find that the measurement side of things resonates? Because let me say attribution could be better on online ads. So I think it's interesting that the approach you've taken isn't what you traditionally expect when you put together a media plan, like how good the ad is, I guess you'd say, and then like what impact did it have not only on the user, the cause, the brand, but then also like the environment seems to be quite a different lens to look at measurement of ads.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I almost think it's more helpful to think about the environmental impact as a conversation about waste.
Okay.
So it's not looking at attribution of success. I mean, we do look at that on the media side of our business. We look at brand lift and engagement lift and, very concrete measures of ROI from the media activation. But on the sustainability piece, it's really more about how do we reduce waste? Any sustainability conversation is basically about how do we reduce waste, right? Let's take outside of our industry, fashion. Fast fashion is about highly wasteful means of production where people buy and dispose of fashion versus buying one piece of clothing that's more expensive, but it lasts you 10 years. That exact same idea is true within sort of a digital ecosystem. The more waste, both is a waste of dollars and a waste of carbon.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think one of the things that I harp on about a lot is just like how inefficient capital is when you spend it online, like whether, and we talk about that in terms of like the fees that people pay, but yeah, it has like generally, I guess this is the other side of the same coin. It's like less wastage equals more efficiency, right? And I think that that is something that needs to be looked at more closely by people that buy and sell programmatic ads. And I don't think it necessarily is. But I guess it sounds like we're both trying to change that.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like there are lots of new innovations that are sort of grappling with that question in different ways. And I actually, one of the things I really love about sort of the sustainability angle to programmatic is that, it's like a beacon of light that you can shine in shadowy corners. When you're asking about the carbon footprint of an ad, what you are actually asking about is the supply path and the end destination and the quality of that end destination and its likelihood to produce a return. All of those questions are questions that you should be asking if you're looking at SPO or reducing MFA or, cleaning up your programmatic buy anyway. But those questions can be difficult. They can unearth complicated answers and they can point fingers, whereas sustainability is a very innocent lens through which to ask difficult questions. So I find with many of our clients, they of course care about the planet, but they also find it a really helpful way to challenge the unchallengeable.
Yeah, I think that is a good way to take it because I sometimes think that the wastage, if you want to call it that, is like a feature of the system, not necessarily a bug, so like.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I think so. Just like if you kind of really just like zoom out into the way that like companies raise money and do you know what I mean? There's a reason that people kind of looking to make stuff slightly overcomplicated, because it kind of gives you a reason to exist to some degree. And I think that simplification can be the antithesis of that and can make people squirm when you ask some questions, so I think it's That's quite a nice way to frame it, where you don't necessarily point fingers. You kind of like
Point
open palm
fingers.
it. Yeah, it's like, what can we do about it? How can we waste less? And I think it's interesting. Yeah, there are a lot of issues, I think, with programmatic advertising in its current form. And I wonder, aside from, I guess that we can talk more about the efficiency or wastage, but is there anything else that you kind of see systemically wrong with the way that ads are bought and sold online?
I think you've sort of alluded to it a bit, but the incentive structures is something we don't always have full view into. How people are incentivized and who's making money from certain behaviors. Like an example, like within the sort of media side of our business, the good loop side, where we embed social impact into the ad experience, it often strikes me how few ad tech vendors are incentivized to create positive user experiences. They are paid by the advertiser based on a maximum number of eyeballs and a maximum, metric of attention, however you quantify that.
Yeah.
And attention can be stolen. Attention can be forced. I pay attention to shitty ads that get in my way. It doesn't mean I'm enjoying them or I'm appreciative of the brand that put them there, but it is attention. And so how are we incentivizing these ad tech vendors? They have the user is not a stakeholder in their business model, and that feels broken to me.
Yeah.
In a quite fundamental way. Similarly, like the advertisers, often the actual brands don't even have direct relationships with the people creating the user experiences for these end users. So many of these ad tech companies deal with the agencies, and the agencies have preferred rates and partners and all of that structure in place. But if you ask a brand manager at General Motors who is teased, that relationship might not exist, and that feels like it always comes down to simplification to me. Like, the more you can simplify the supply path, the more directly you can work with the people that are creating the ad experiences, whether that's going direct to publisher, whether that's building curation packages with your publisher partners, or whether that's understanding the ad tech that's creating your user experiences. Like, the more you have those relationships directly, the more you reduce waste and the more you can understand the incentive structures that are at play.